What is going on, everybody? Today I'll be doing my 2020 NFL mock draft picks 1 through 32 version 2.0. This is an updated version from my last mock draft, which you guys did absolutely amazing on. If you have not checked out my last mock draft, link will be down in the description below. Please like the video, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right on into the video. With the first pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Burrow, quarterback, LSU. Joe Burrow obviously has proved to us why he's the number 1 overall pick in this draft, and there's no doubt in my mind that the Bengals will pursue Joe Burrow as they have shown so much interest in Joe Burrow already. Joe Burrow is the obvious pick here at number 1. Same with the pick here at number 2, as Chase Young goes to the Redskins. Out of Ohio State. He is an edge rusher now. Chase Young, in my opinion, he's the best player in this year's draft, and the Redskins defense is going to need a spark in this upcoming year, and Chase Young will bring any defense a spark. So, Chase Young going to the Redskins. With the third pick, the Lions select Jeffrey Okudah, cornerback, Ohio State. Okudah is the most talented cornerback in this year's draft, in my opinion. He is a beast when it comes to lockdown. Doesn't let most receivers catch the ball no matter what receiver he's going up against. He always puts up a fight and most of the times wins that fight. And he will be on the opposing side of Darius Slay, another veteran who could help him develop a Pro Bowl veteran, so that would work in Jeff Okudah's favor to help him develop as a player on this weekend Lions defense. With the fourth pick, the New York Giants select Isaiah Simmons. I really love Isaiah Simmons. He's one of the most talented all-around players in this year's draft and could really play almost any position on the defense: linebacker, safety, cornerback, etc. In the championship game, he played snaps in almost every position on the defense. There's a Twitter post if you guys want to check that out after the video. But it's just really impressive to see what Isaiah Simmons can do on the defense, and he's really good at any position he plays and really impressed everyone in the championship game. So Isaiah Simmons to the New York Giants. Giants defense has not impressed many people, and Isaiah Simmons is going to bring some life to the Giants defense. With the fifth pick, the Dolphins select Tua Tagovailoa. The Dolphins need a quarterback, and there's no doubt about that. Ryan Fitzpatrick will not do for their future. Tua Tagovailoa is young, and the only real problem with Tua is that injury that is scaring many people. If Tua can show that he could work around that injury, I think that the Dolphins could draft him. Maybe the Chargers trade up. We don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where Tua Tagovailoa falls in this draft. With the sixth pick, the Chargers select Justin Herbert, another quarterback, actually the MVP of the Senior Bowl. He had a great Senior Bowl and really impressed a lot of people. Justin Herbert just the next best quarterback in this draft, and it's going to be really interesting to see if he falls, if he stays up in the top 8. Really, Justin Herbert is a top-class quarterback. The seventh pick, the Panthers select Derrick Brown, defensive tackle. Derrick Brown is a very talented player, and really in most other drafts, he'd be a top 4 pick. Derrick Brown is going to look to help this weak defensive line of the Panthers and this weak defense, actually. With the new head coach coming in, Matt Rule, who's really showed a lot of promise at Baylor, Derrick Brown is going to look to come in and help change this defense for the better. He is a beast, really good in the run game, and he's great at getting to the quarterback. With the eighth pick, the Cardinals select Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver. Kyler Murray is going to need a wide receiver, and Jerry Jeudy is just going to be perfect for them. I mean, he, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in this year's draft, and Jerry Jeudy will be a great option for Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray really needs an option going into the next season as Larry Fitzgerald is hitting his upper age years. With the 9th pick in this year's draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle. So Andrew Thomas is debatably the best offensive tackle in this year's draft, and the Jacksonville Jaguars' offensive line has not been the best this season. And Andrew Thomas is going to look to change that offensive line around and hopefully give him a fresh new start. There's no 100% chance who the quarterback is going to be for the Jacksonville Jaguars next season, but Andrew Thomas is really going to protect whoever's back there in the future. With the 10th pick, the Cleveland Browns select Jedrick Wills. Now, Jedrick Wills is another offensive lineman, and the Browns are on the same boat as the Jaguars. They really need to rebuild that offensive line. The offensive line has not been good for some time now, and the young quarterback in Baker Mayfield needs line to protect him. Same with Nick Chubb, who is looking to be the future of the NFL when it comes to star running backs. With the 11th pick, the New York Jets select CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver. So now, the New York Jets are on the same boat as the Cardinals. They need a wide receiver. Young quarterback Sam Darnold needs an option. And it looks like Robbie Anderson is going to enter free agency. So CeeDee Lamb is going to be Sam Darnold's number one option. And really, I think CeeDee Lamb is the next best wide receiver in the, I definitely think he's the next best wide receiver in the draft. And he could even be the best. But he's just going to look to be that star wide receiver one role right off the bat. With the 12th pick, the Raiders select AJ Espinoza, edge rusher. Now, the Raiders, they're another team that's defense has not been good. And Crosby is going to need someone on the other side who is going to carry, who's going to take the weight off of his shoulders. Crosby has had a fantastic season, and really, AJ Espinoza is going to help take the weight off his shoulders and, give him another person to help him on the other side. With the 13th pick, the Colts select T. Higgins, wide receiver. Clemson. So, in my opinion, T. Higgins is the next best wide receiver in this draft. I know this could be a controversial pick. The Colts do need a quarterback, and I know it's a really big topic. Again, the Colts could draft Love. It's going to be interesting to see this pick, but I still think T. Higgins is the next best wide receiver in this draft, and the Colts are another team that needs a wide receiver. As you'll see, this first round has tons of wide receivers going. Really, T.Y. Hilton getting older, and he needs some pressure taking off him. T. Higgins had a great season at Clemson, and whoever the Colts quarterback is going to be next season is going to need an option. T. Higgins is that next option for the Colts. With the 14th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Tristan Wirfs, offensive lineman. Tristan Wirfs, another offensive lineman, probably in the top 3 again when it comes to offensive linemen. And Jameis Winston needs pressure taken off him. 30 interceptions is not acceptable. He needs more time to relax in the pocket instead of always scrambling it out of the pocket and throwing interceptions. And Tristan Wirfs is another phenomenal offensive lineman, and he will help Jameis Winston have time and hopefully not throw as many interceptions as he had this last season, which is a pretty sad number. With the 15th pick, the Broncos select Henry Ruggs III, wide receiver, Alabama. The Broncos have a young up-and-coming star, Cortland Sutton, who made the Pro Bowl this year, but he can't do everything himself. Henry Ruggs, who some are calling the next Tyreek Hill. He's small, he's speedy, he's really impressive to watch. He's probably going to demolish the 40 time this year. And the Broncos are going to need that speedy wide receiver. Henry Ruggs is their guy. Drew Lock, young, looking good. He had an alright first season, first couple games. Henry Ruggs is going to give him a great option. With the 16th pick, the Falcons select Christian Fulton, cornerback, LSU. Christian Fulton, another player who I think looks promising, and the Falcons' defense has not looked good. The Falcons are pretty weak in the back, so Christian Fulton would come in and just add some depth to the quarterback position, which has been lacking for some time now. With the 17th pick, the Dallas Cowboys select Javon Kinlaw, defensive lineman. Now, Javon Kinlaw is a pretty big guy, and the Dallas Cowboys need some pass rush when it comes to their defense. And Javon Kinlaw is going to come in and add some depth to that defensive line. It's going to be interesting to see what this Cowboys defense does in the upcoming offseason when it comes to free agency. Of course, Byron Jones is leaving, so it's going to be interesting to see. But Javon Kinlaw is going to be a great addition to that Cowboys team. With the 18th pick, the Dolphins select Clavon Chasen, edge rusher, LSU. The Dolphins, another tricky pick here because they have 3 first-round picks. Their offense needs a ton of work. Same with their defense. They just really don't have a good team in general. And I guess you got to start somewhere. So start with edge. Clavon Chasen has shown a lot of promise this season, and really anything can help. Their edge needs some work. Really don't have any big name edge rushers. Really don't have any big names on their defense. So Clavon Chasen is going to come in, hopefully help rebuild this Dolphins team, which has been lagging for years and years now. With the 19th pick, the Oakland Raiders select Laviska Shenault. So now Laviska Shenault, another wide receiver out of Colorado, who showed a lot of promise, and the Raiders' offense needs options. Whoever's going to be back there in the future, is it going to be Derek Carr? Is it going to be someone who they're going to draft? It's going to be interesting to see what this Raiders team decides. But Laviska Shenault is going to give whoever's the quarterback in the future an option. They can't just resort to running it all the time. Josh Jacobs has had a phenomenal season, but he can't carry the bulk. Laviska Shenault is going to take some pressure off of Josh Jacobs and give whoever the quarterback is an option. With the 20th pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trayvon Diggs, cornerback, Alabama. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense this season has been a real disappointment. Since the season before, they looked awesome. So they need to add depth to that cornerback position, and Trayvon Diggs has had a great season this season, and he's just going to help add depth and hopefully light a spark in this Jacksonville Jaguars defense, which has really been a letdown this season. With the 21st pick, the Eagles select C.J. Henderson, cornerback, Florida. The Eagles are another team whose defense has not looked the best, and their cornerback position has been rough this season. C.J. Henderson has been one of the best cornerbacks this season in college football, and he's really going to come into this Eagles team or wherever he goes and turn the secondary around. The Eagles secondary has been lacking. It's just going to be interesting to see who they pick with this pick. There's speculation that they could take a wide receiver because how bad of a wide receiver game they have. They could address them in later rounds, so could many teams. But C.J. Henderson, definitely a first-round talent. I think he'll fit in perfectly with that Eagles scheme. With the 22nd pick, the Bills selected Yetur Gross-Matos, edge rusher, Penn State. The Bills' defense and offense has really had a turnaround this year for the better. They have looked phenomenal this season. And really, I could see them in the future being a team that can contend for the Super Bowl, as they obviously did this season, showing much promise in this very young team. And an edge rusher could help. They obviously need depth at that edge rusher position. Yetur Gross-Matos, a great pick for them. A great edge rusher out of Penn State. With the 23rd pick, the Patriots select Bryson Hopkins, tight end. So everyone knows that the Patriots need a tight end. They really haven't addressed this tight end thing since Rob Gronkowski has retired, and they need the next Rob Gronkowski. Bryson Hopkins has been considered the best tight end in this draft. Really not a great tight end draft like last year, but Bryson Hopkins is the number 1 tight end in this draft, in my opinion. I think he could really help the Patriots finally have a tight end for the first time in a while. With the 24th pick, the Saints select Kenneth Murray, linebacker, Oklahoma. The Saints team, again, a big upset that they didn't make the Super Bowl as a lot of people predicted. They got out actually really early. And it's a big upset. Kenneth Murray, linebacker, going to help this weakened not this weakened defense. I mean, their defense has looked phenomenal this season, but they're going to need to add some depth somewhere. Kenneth Murray, in my opinion, is the next best player in this draft, and he's going to add depth to the linebacker position for the Saints. But the Saints are looking phenomenal, and their future is bright, except for that quarterback position, which we will see what they address in that quarterback position. Is Drew Brees going to stay or not? Let me know in the comment section down below. With the 25th pick, the Vikings select Grant Delpit, safety, LSU. So, most of you might not have thought Grant Delpit to fall this much. I just don't see many teams needing a safety as their top priority right now. The Vikings, they need a safety. Grant Delpit would be a perfect fit. Really, at the back end of the season, he hasn't had a great end to the season, but that doesn't mean that he won't show in the NFL. I don't think he'll fall that much. Maybe pick 25 looks just right for Grant Delpit, and the Vikings need a safety. Grant Delpit will fit in well with that scheme in the Vikings. With the 26th pick, the Dolphins select DeAndre Swift, running back. DeAndre Swift, the first running back off the board. In my opinion, he's the best running back from Georgia. The Dolphins, Patrick Liard is not going to fit it for the Dolphins team. And DeAndre Swift is hopefully going to be like a Josh Jacobs, come in with a late pick and impress many people. DeAndre Swift in college has been phenomenal, and let's see if he can continue that in the NFL with the Dolphins. With the 27th pick, the Seahawks select Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle. Now, Mekhi Becton, I like Mekhi Becton. I don't think he should be a higher pick like people have mocked him. But the Seahawks need an offensive tackle, and Mekhi Becton is just the next best tackle in this draft. And he'll really help start the rebuild for that Seahawks offensive line, which has been struggling for years now to protect Russell Wilson. With the 28th pick, the Baltimore Ravens select Justin Jefferson. I love Justin Jefferson. I think he's a great wide receiver, and the Baltimore Ravens need a wide receiver more than any other position. They really don't have that star wide receiver that other teams have, and hopefully Justin Jefferson could be that star wide receiver for them. But other than that, the Baltimore Ravens have a pretty stacked team going into next season. I could see them being Super Bowl contenders after this disappointing season. With the 29th pick, the shocking Tennessee Titans select Neville Gallimore, defensive line. Now, the Titans got to give them major props. They made it really far into the season. And defensive line, obviously, a need for the Titans. Neville Gallimore is the next best defensive lineman in this draft. He's going to really just come in and help add some more pressure to this Titans defense, which has needed some defensive linemen for some time now. With the 30th pick, the Packers select Jalen Reagor, wide receiver, TCU. Now, the Packers wide receiver game has not been great. Really, Davante Adams is all they have. Now, don't get me wrong, Davante Adams is a tremendous wide receiver, but he needs an option. Aaron Rodgers needs another option other than Davante Adams, as teams are going to just pick up on Aaron Rodgers only targeting Davante Adams. Jalen Reagor, only thing that scares me a little bit is his height, but other than that, Jalen Reagor is another star wide receiver. Some may have him even going higher in this draft, but I think pick 30 with the Packers is a perfect pick for Jalen Reagor. So obviously these next two picks I can't predict yet since the Super Bowl hasn't happened. Let me know who you think will win the Super Bowl. Link will be down in the description. Tell me in the comment section down below. Excuse me. I'm guessing the San Francisco 49ers. So with the 31st pick in this year's draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Xavier McKinney, safety, Alabama. And with the 32nd pick, the San Francisco 49ers select Curtis Weaver, edge, Boise State. Both teams, again, pretty stacked team. I could see Kansas City going with the defense 100%. Safety has been a need for a while now for the Kansas City Chiefs. And for the San Francisco 49ers, they really have a stacked defense. But edge rusher, you can't go wrong picking another edge rusher. So that is it for this draft. Please like, again, comment, and subscribe for more mock drafts in the future. Thanks for coming, and I hope to see you in the next video.